Welcome to The Needle, your Division I college basketball podcast. I'm Jack Williams, owner and operator of D1CoachCorner.com, your source for college basketball news, rankings, and predictions. On this podcast, we will present to you weekly conversations on D1 college basketball coaches and their teams. Don't forget to go right now on your computer, phone, or tablet and follow us on Twitter. This episode of The Needle is brought to you by D1CoachCorner.com, your source for Division I college basketball coaching.
Thank you for tuning into our 17th episode of The Needle. Again, my name is Jack Williams, owner and operator of D1CoachCorner.com, your source for college basketball news, rankings, and predictions. D1 Coach Corner is the number one source for preseason predictions and college evaluations. The Needle College Basketball Podcast will bring to you 52 weeks of college basketball talk on topics dealing with Division I college basketball coaches and their teams. In this episode, we will be grading the 2017 class of the Division I college basketball coaching hires and find out who's doing well and who's doing badly. We will also bring to you our tournament game recap and our updated coaching changes and news. D1 Coach Corner has been monitoring Division I college basketball coaching changes since the launch of our website in 2014. So what we're going to be doing from this point on is go back to grade our new coaching hires from the previous years, starting with the 2017 class of the Division I college basketball coaching hires. How are they doing? Well, let's grade them. Now, our grading scale is going to look like this. Our coach is going to be graded on a scale from A through F. An A being the best and an F being the worst. Now our A group. Our A group is going to consist of a group of coaches who have changed their teams to the positive as a result of them being there. Our A group is the cream of the crop and will more than likely see a huge stock change by the end of the season. Now our B group is going to consist of a group of coaches who are on the rise, but needs a little time to get them over the edge. This group needs to do something to give their team that big boost that they need to rise to the top of their conference. They are almost there. Now our C group are coaches who are doing good, but just can't afford to stay in their current position for more than 2 more seasons. This group needs an NCAA tournament win, and not just an appearance to make the jump to the next grade level. If they don't, they will more than likely jump to the next grade below, which is our D group. Not good. Now, our D group of coaches are those who are just 1 season away from being on the hot seat watch list. This group desperately needs a win season or more in their conference to stay off the hot seat. Now, our F group, this group of coaches either has been fired already or is already on the hot seat watch list. So let's begin. Our A group, Will Wade of LSU, Mike Rhodes of VCU, Chris Jans of New Mexico State, and Ryan Riders of Bethune-Cookman. People are asleep on this young coach right here. Now, the 4 of these coaches are doing very well. Unfortunately, Coach Will Wade has gotten himself into a little hot water. You know, I don't know about you, but there's something seriously irking me about these FBI investigations. I'm not a fan of this whole government oversight, but the rules are the rules, and we must abide by them. With that aside, Coach Wade is a very good coach, and I hope that LSU finds a way to punish him without firing him. However, with LSU winning the way they are with Coach Tony Benford, that may spell trouble for the coach in the near future. I'm just saying. Coach Benford was once the head coach of North Texas, where he spent 5 seasons and oversaw the team's transition from the Sun Belt to the Conference USA. He didn't do well there, and he was fired. VCU is a breeding ground for good coaches. 2 coaches out of this group are from this school, and Shaka Smart of Texas is also a product of VCU. However, the verdict is still out on Shaka Smart at Texas. Texas hasn't yet gotten past the first round of the NCAA tournament. I believe that if Coach Smart doesn't produce next season, he'll be gone. There's a good chance that Coach Mike Rhodes may be moving on to bigger and better things after this season. Coach Rhodes' VCU team finished in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Coach Chris Jans has led Mexico State to back-to-back Western Athletic Conference regular season and conference tournament championships. The question is, will some bigger programs come after him after the postseason is over? There's a good chance. Ryan Riders of Bethune-Cookman. This coach is under the radar. He has Bethune-Cookman, a small Division I college basketball school, winning. Bethune-Cookman has never gone to Division I NCAA tournament in its history. I got a feeling that this will change very soon with this young coach. When he does lead this team to the tournament, he's definitely moving up in college basketball coaching. Bethune-Cookman was tied for the MEAC Conference title in 2018. Now on to our B group. This group is not doing bad at all. This group just needs something to give their team just a little boost to rise to the top of their conference, and they appear to be almost there. Now, who are they? Brian Gregory of South Florida is one. South Florida didn't make it to the NCAA tournament this year. As a matter of fact, South Florida didn't even have a winning season in the American. But the reason that he's on this list is because South Florida was at least competitive this past season. South Florida should have a lot of key players returning next season. If David Collins, LaQuincy Rideau, and Alexis Yetna all return to South Florida, they could possibly go to the NCAA tournament next year. Our next coach in the B group is Kevin Keatts of North Carolina State. I still have faith in Kevin Keatts, even though I thought that this team was going to do better than they did this season. But if Coach Keatts doesn't make a deep run into the NCAA tournament next season, he's going to fall down to Category C. Brian Dutcher of San Diego State is also on our B list. Coach Steve Fisher single-handedly put this team in the national spotlight. San Diego State has been competitive ever since Steve Fisher took over as head coach. Because of him, this team gets to draw a lot of good recruits to the team. But Coach Brian Dutcher gets credit for keeping them competitive. However, if Coach Dutcher doesn't make it to the NCAA tournament next season, he could easily move down to Category C. Mike Figures of Austin Peay. Austin Peay is winning, but they went from 3rd place to 4th place. Austin Peay needs to do more than just have a winning season. They need to win the conference regular season or conference tournament in order for Coach Figures to move up in the next category. Grant McCaskill of North Texas. North Texas' record doesn't reflect how competitive this team has been. North Texas won the CBI championship in Coach McCaskill's first season as head coach. However, this team needs to win the regular season or tournament title in order for Coach McCaskill to move up to Category A. Mike Hopkins of Washington. Washington won the Pac-12 title this season under Coach Hopkins. That's all good. I'm just waiting to see what happens to Washington in the NCAA tournament. Can he lead this team past the second round of the NCAA tournament, or did he get to the tournament just because this conference was so weak this year? We'll see. Baker Dunleavy of Quinnipiac. Baker Dunleavy's Quinnipiac team is improving each year. His second season with the team was a winning one. Quinnipiac finished second in the Mid-American Athletic Conference, and the team also participated in the CIT, where they lost in the first round. It's a totally different outcome than the one his father had in Tulane. We all know that Coach Mike Dunleavy Sr. was just recently fired from Tulane. Also on our list is Coach Josh Pasternak of UC Santa Barbara. Coach Pasternak's 2 seasons with UC Santa Barbara have been winning one. UC Santa Barbara finished second in the Big West Conference for 2 seasons in a row. Derek Kellogg of LIU Brooklyn. LIU Brooklyn won the Northeast Conference Tournament Championship under the leadership of Coach Kellogg in just his first season. Now, our last person is Dante Jackson of Grambling State. Coach Jackson has Grambling State competing in the SWAC. He led them to a conference regular season championship in 2018, and both seasons have been winning. So let's go over those names again. Our B group was Brian Gregory of South Florida, Kevin Keatts of North Carolina State, Brian Dutcher of San Diego State, Matt Figures of Austin Peay, Grant McCaskill of North Texas, Mike Hopkins of Washington, Baker Dunleavy of Quinnipiac, Josh Pasternak of UC Santa Barbara, Derek Kellogg of LIU Brooklyn, and Dante Jackson of Grambling State, all on our B group. Now on to our C group. This group isn't bad either, but yet they aren't doing good enough. This group needs an NCAA tournament win and not just an appearance to make the jump to the next grade above, or they will find themselves on the hot seat watch list coming soon. Now, who are they? Shantae Leggins of Eastern Washington, Keith Dambro of Duquesne, Dustin Kern of Presbyterian, Jim Hafer of Seattle, Barrett Perry of Portland State, Robert McClellan of Florida A&M, Barb Ritchie of Furman, Patrick Ewing of Georgetown, Anthony Grant of Dayton, and Quanzo Martin of Missouri. all on our C group. Let's talk about Patrick Ewing out of this group. Patrick Ewing is one of the coaches out of this list that has to be very careful. He's going to need to have a good showing next season. I mean a Sweet 16 appearance or better, because he's in a Major 6 conference and finishing in the first round of the NIT ain't gonna cut it. However, a third place finish in the Big East wasn't bad. The same thing for Coach Anthony Grant. Coach Grant has to do more than just finish in the first round of the NIT next season. That third season is crucial. Each of these coaches could find themselves on the hot seat watch list after next season if they don't do good. Another one out of this group is Coach Quanzo Martin of Missouri. Coach Martin finished in the first round of the NC tournament last season with a pretty decent team. Missouri finished in just 8th place in 2018-2019 and did not participate in any postseason tournament. Just like the others, Coach Martin has to have a good showing next season. Now, on to our D group. This group desperately needs a win season or more in their conference to stay off the hot seat watch list. And they are John Gross of Akron, Lamont Parrish of Chattanooga, Paul Weir of New Mexico, Gerard Calhoun of Youngstown State, Dennis Felton of Cleveland State, Matt McCall of UMass, Jack Owens of Miami, Ohio, Mike Bellotto of Arkansas State, C.B. McGrath of UNC Wilmington, Juan Dixon of Copen State, Scott Parra of Rice, Brad Underwood of Illinois, and Archie Miller of Indiana. Now, the last two in this group is very time sensitive. Illinois hasn't had a winning season as of yet under Coach Underwood. They were a real disappointment to me this season. And so was Archie Miller. Unlike Illinois, Indiana is still in the NIT at least. But another NIT appearance after this season is not going to work. I'm just saying. And lastly, our F group. This group of coaches either has been fired or resigned before the school got around to firing them, or is already on the hot seat watch list. And they are Donnie Marsh of Alabama A&M and Wyken Jones of California. Donnie Marsh resigned from Alabama A&M last season after a very slow start. Wyken Jones is already on our hot seat watch list. He finished the last 2 seasons in 12th place. And so much for that. Now let's look into some tournament games played in week 20 of college basketball. Tuesday, March 19, 2019 marked the first day of the NCAA tournament. Fairleigh Dickinson defeated Perry Butte A&M, while Belmont defeated Temple to win the first 4 of the NCAA tournament. On Wednesday, March 20, 2019, North Dakota State defeated North Carolina Central, and Arizona State defeated St. John's to win the first 4 of the NCAA tournament. On Thursday, March 21st, 2019, Fairleigh Dickinson went on to play Gonzaga in the first round of the tournament, while Belmont went on to play Maryland in the first round. Both Gonzaga and Maryland won the matchups. There were a few upsets in the first round of the tournament, like always. 10th seeded Florida defeated 7th seeded Nevada. Florida's defense held Nevada to just 61 points. Minnesota, a team that finished 7th in the Big Ten, defeated Louisville in the first round. A red line through my bracket. 12th seeded Murray State defeated Marquette in the first round. I kind of had a feeling that this one was going to happen. Marquette lost the last 5 of their 6 regular season games this season. This team ran out of gas. On Friday, March 22nd, 2019, there were plenty of upsets. 13th seeded UC Irvine defeated 4th seed Kansas State in a very close contest. 12th seeded Oregon blew out 5th seeded Wisconsin. Oregon shot 46.7% from the 3-point line. The crazy part about all of this, Oregon struggled in the first half of the season. 10th seeded Iowa defeated 7th seeded Cincinnati. Iowa shot 50% from the 3-point line. Coach Fran McCaffrey did his homework prior to the game. Cincinnati had problems all season guarding the 3-point line. They were last in the American and 247th in the nation in 3-point field goal defense. And 12th seeded Liberty defeated 5th seeded Mississippi State in the first round. On Saturday, March 23, 2019, Auburn, Gonzaga, Michigan State, Kentucky, Michigan, Florida State, LSU, and Purdue will all be moving to the Sweet 16 next week. And that concludes the needle moving portion of our show. We will now move on to the tournament game recap and the updated coaching changes and news. This portion of our show is brought to you by D1CoachCorner.com, your source for college basketball news, rankings, and prediction. Once again, don't forget to go follow us on Twitter after the show at D1CoachCorner. Now let's look into some coaching changing news. Coach Bob Hoffman and Mercer decided to part ways after 11 seasons. Mercer hasn't finished better than third place since joining the Southern Conference in 2014. Chris Casey of Niagara was fired. Coach Casey served as head coach of Niagara for 6 seasons. Niagara decided to fire Coach Casey due to the fact that he had only 1 win season out of 6. Troy fired Coach Phil Cunningham. Coach Phil Cunningham led Troy to their second NCAA appearance in team history in 2017, but 1 win season out of 6 wasn't good enough for Troy. Fairfield fired Sidney Johnson after 8 seasons of not making it to the NCAA tournament. Fairfield finished 9th in their conference after the 2018-2019 season. Texas A&M decided to let Coach Bill Kennedy go after the team finished in 11th place for the 2018-2019 season. Ohio decided to part ways with Coach Phillips for not making it to the NCAA tournament in the 5 seasons he's been there with the team. Coach Jim Christian was the last coach to lead the team to the tournament in 2012. Coach Jeff Boyles was hired by Ohio to take his place. Williams and Mary fired Coach Tony Shavers. Williams and Mary decided to part ways with Coach Tony Shavers after 16 seasons. Williams and Mary never made it to the NCAA tournament under Coach Shaver and had only finished in the first round of the NIT twice in 16 seasons. Coach Ernie Kent was fired after 5 seasons with Washington State. Coach Kent failed to produce a single winning season as head coach of the team. George Washington dismisses Coach Maurice Joseph after 5 seasons. George Washington's record declined over the last 3 seasons. Sienna's head coach Jamian Christian was hired to take his place. Coach Marvin Menzies was fired after 3 seasons. Coach Menzies failed to get his team to the NCAA tournament in those 3 years. Tulane fired Coach Mike Dunleavy Sr. after going winless in the American Conference this 2018-2019 season. Appalachian State fired Coach Jim Fox after 5 consecutive losing seasons. Coach Kareem Richardson failed to lead UMKC to the NCAA tournament in his 6 years, therefore he was fired. Coach Matt Matheny failed to get Elon to the NCAA tournament in his 10 years as head coach, therefore he was fired. St. Joseph felt that the time for change for the future starts now, therefore they parted ways with longtime coach Phil Martelli. Coach Martelli did an excellent job at St. Joseph, but he's 64 years old and has been head coach there for over 24 years. Morgan State hasn't won the MEAC regular season or tournament title since 2010. As a result, Coach Todd Bozeman was fired. Vanderbilt suffered their worst season in program history. Vanderbilt went winless in the SEC. For that reason, they fired Coach Bryce Drew. Alabama couldn't make it past the first round of the NCAA tournament under the leadership of Coach Avery Johnson. 3 NIT and 1 NCAA tournament appearance in 4 years was not good enough. Coach Avery Johnson was fired for that reason. Now that concludes our show for this week. Join us next week at the same time and channel for new episodes. We will be happy to take your questions and comments on Twitter for our next episode. Our Twitter handle is at D1CoachCorner. That is at D1CoachCorner. See you next week.